Hi everyone, today's topic is Datamoshing in TouchDesigner. So it's a Datamoshing effect. It's not actually editing the B frame, iframes that you have in your, like encoding your videos the typical way. People have been doing Datamoshing for decades now. But it's still a fun effect and it's based on the same principles. So that works. It's pretty simple, but we're going to really dive into what's really feedback, what's really displacement, and let's go. So a quick disclaimer before we start. Unfortunately, this tutorial will only apply to Windows operating system. We tried to my Discord members that were on Mac and it didn't work because one of the operator we use, optical flow top, is only working on Windows operating system. So yeah, sorry for that. I'll try to find a workaround, but for now, I think it's still be interesting until that point. But yeah, I try to find something. So first of all, I put just a flip to flip my image like from left to right, just because it's pretty disturbing to have my webcam and not have it like behaving like a mirror. So yeah, that's flip top. And first we'll see what's really a feedback loop. So feedback loop, for now we'll make a really simple one. I'm dragging a connection feedback top like this and a null. Now to end the feedback loop, I can select the feedback and say the end of my feedback loop is this operator. So I can write null, null1, or drag and drop in this field. And now this is a feedback loop. Like this is already working. How to check like how it's behaving? We can insert an operator on this connection between the two. And if we put a transform, like usually when we put a transform like this, and I say I want it to be like 10 pixels to the right, I do 10 pixels and it just moves 10 pixels. If I do this on this transform top, I select as a unit on this drop down menu pixels and I say 10 pixels to the right. Now it not only displays the image like 10 pixels, but it displaces 10 pixels every frame because the image first come when I hit refresh, like a reset here, it comes from this connection. And then it goes through the transform, moved 10 pixels to the right, then to the null. On the next frame, the image goes back to feedback, and then 10 pixels to the right, and then 10 pixels to the right, 10 pixels to the right, and the image just leaves the screen. So this is the principle of a feedback loop. So for it to be a bit easier to refresh this feedback, let me put a keyboard in chop, and I'll use it as the reset on my feedback. I leave it on this, like on the feedback you have two different parameters. First one is reset, like toggle on off, and second one is pulse. Pulse is only when you unclick, like when you release your click, that is going to reset. And this one, when it's on, it's just perpetually reset. And it's going to be a bit easier for us to use the first one. So I activate my operator, I hover when it's green, release on reset, chop reference, and perfect. Now when I hit my one key, it's taking like this image as an input, then it's going here, and when I release it, it's like the image gets frozen in the feedback and it's moved 10, maybe I put 5 frames to the right. So what's really important to understand is this system of having like this switch of right now the image when I hit feedback is coming from here, and when I leave the feedback it's coming from here, and it's stuck in this loop. This is why we call it a feedback loop. It's because it's literally looping like this. Okay, Let's put something else than transform. I'll just hit one time to have like my image back. And let's put a displace. So insert operator, displace top. So what does displace top do? It takes a first input, like this, and a second input, named input1 displace image. So input 0 source image is the actual pixels, and second input, input 1, is the image that we're using it like to displace the first one. Let me just show you how it works with a constant. You don't have to do it, just to show. I'm making it the same size as my image, 1280 by 720. Okay. I want it to be very precise colors, 32-bit floats, and I leave it as a gray, like middle gray, 05, 05, 05. When I put it as the displace, displace image, we see that nothing happens. Let me activate this. So what it's doing, it's taking the first image and displacing it with the second. If we want our image to go like horizontally, we can tweak the red value. So when I increase the red color, it moves to the left. When I decrease it, it moves to the right. If we want to move our image vertically, we change it with the blue color. When I increase it, it goes like down, and when I decrease it, it goes up. So when I refresh my image, it's like this. Okay. So this is how you see like horizontal source red, vertical source blue. It takes this image and it displays the first image based on the color of it. So now it's the same color for the whole screen, so it displays uniformly all the pixels. But if we take something else, for instance, a noise, let's make our noise same 1280 by 720. Now you can do it if you want. Pixel format, let's take 32-bit float RGBA. And in the first tab, let's put it as like toggle off the monochrome value. Now, when we replace our texture with this, it's instant chaos. Oh, let me just keep this one. Yeah, instant chaos. If you remember, when we put our constant, like the slightest move like of color, 0.5, for instance, just putting it at 501, it's already like a big change. Same like 499, it's still a big change like in translation. So here we have colors that go from like 0 to 1, from really dark to really saturated. So when we plug it in, it's really putting our pixels all over the place. What we can do, either we take our noise and we reduce the amplitude, 0.001, for instance, and now I refresh my feedback. So this is an option. But now we don't really see what's happening here. So what we can do is leave the amplitude as 0.5, so we see what's going on here. And on the displace, we say don't be so drastic on the displacement, reduce a bit the amplitude. This parameter is displace weight, and when I click on the word, I put 0 in both, and I just increase back to 0.002. So now we have the like advantage of seeing what's going on in our texture, and also here we can mitigate the effect. And it's the same as the transform. It's moving the pixel, like displacing the pixels every frame based on the same texture. And if we animate this texture, we can only like do a abs time.second, so ABS T majuscule time dot seconds. If we move this image, then it will displace the pixels, like every frame, based on this color values. But you see that it's not refreshing the image like this. It's the same distorted image that gets distorted again and again, because we're in the feedback loop. Okay. So now for our effect, for our Datamoshing effect, what we want is to be able to know, like to analyze what's going on in our webcam. So here we just drag a connection, take optical flow. So again, this will only work with Windows operating system. Sorry for Mac users. And we can plug it in the displace as a texture. So when I refresh, first I see that it's kind of doing something, but not really. Here I see that when I go from left to right, I get like brighter or darker, and when I go like up and down like this, here on my green channel, I see like the colors moving. Okay, so it seems to be working here, but not here. First thing, let's put a null just to see what's going on, like what the texture looks like. It looks like this. Okay, so when I go to the right, I'm red. To the left, actually, I don't see any colors. But when I don't move, I see like black. What's really going on is that it's not taking like the constant we were using before and the noise. It's not taking gray as the rest point, like the point that is not getting distorted. It's taking black. So in our displace, we need to say our source midpoint. So the color that is considered as not moving, it's not 0.5, 0.5. It's not our middle gray. It's 0, 0. It's black. And then we use 32-bit float colors that enable us to have negative colors. So that's why when we move to the left, we don't see it, but it registers as a color. Okay, let me refresh. And now, okay, it's kind of working from left to right, but it doesn't seem to be working from like up and down. I only get displays left and right. For this, like the reason for that is here our texture is red horizontal and green vertical, but the base parameters of displace is horizontal red, so that's good, but vertical is blue, so we need to set it to green. And now seems to be working a bit better. Okay, let me increase the displace weight. Okay, but one thing is when I like it seems to be kind of inverted. Like when I move my hands up, it takes the texture down, and yeah, left, right, up, down. It seems to be inverted. So what I can do really simply is put a minus before the displace weight, and now when I refresh, it should be working correctly. So this is already a really fun effect. What you can do with optical flow here is to tweak the parameters to get exactly the effect you want. Threshold will attenuate like the smaller effects when you put it up. Like it's you have less noisy like small movements. You have only your big movement that count. And gamma, it will change like the actual like gray middle point of your like on a level effect in Photoshop or something like that. So for that you need just to test, try it, move it, and see what works for you. So below 1, not really what I want. I'll leave it around 1. Okay. So this is cool. One thing that I see here is that it's flickering. Like every frame is going like it's really flickering. If I put texture 3D, you see that 1/2 frames is just black. Like we have one black frame, one colored frame. To mitigate that, let's just put a cache. Okay. We only want cache size 2 image. I want to output what image? The one like -1 frame, so the one just before this frame. And then I'll just combine this optical flow with a comp. I just combine it to my cache. Okay, let me make some room. And now I use operation average, and now I don't have any like drops. Okay, and now it's really more stable. Why do I want to do that? I want to have something really stable, because what makes the Datamoshing effects really effective is when it just repeats the same movement over and over again. So to do that, I can just put another cache. Okay. Cache size 1. I don't really need like a cache. And I replace my first, like I replace it as my displace image. And when I pause the effect, like this, when I pause the effect, so I remove the toggle on active, it's going to just freeze the movement, and so it's going to repeat over and over again this movement. So even if I refresh my my feedback, it's just repeating this movement, like me moving to the right, this moving a bit up, etc. What's really funny with that is we can use our keyboard input that we're using for the feedback also on the cache. And now when I have the keyboard pressed, it's my normal feed, and when I release it, it's just the texture, like the frozen texture. If you want, you can put it in on two different keys. So keyboard in 1, keyboard in 2. This one I want the key number 2. I put this as the active. So if I only push the 2, I have the image is frozen but the texture is live. And if I release the 2, the display textures gets paused. And if I push the 2 keys, it's just like normal. And when I release the 2 at the same time, we have this kind of effect. It's really funny with the hand movement, I think. Okay, so thank you for watching. Now you see how to make this Datamoshing effect. Have fun with the optical flow parameters and also the displace parameters, and maybe combine in a way with a comp something, play with combining the original image to the displace image, and also have fun with what you use to trigger the different buffer, like to trigger the cache and also to trigger the feedback loop. And yeah, so this file is kind of already available in my Patreon, but I'll put this exact file on the Patreon. If you follow the tutorial, it's exactly the same file, so you don't have to pay for it. Or at least if you follow the tutorial, you'll get the same thing from the Patreon. And also thank you to my Discord members that support me and help me make this tutorial. Actually, I beta tested on on them earlier. So if you want to join the server and participate in the Discord challenge where we recreate some images to improve ourselves, like improve our TouchDesigner knowledge, feel free to join. I put the link in the description. And yeah, don't hesitate to tag me if you do something with that, because I'm curious what you might come up with. And see you next time. Bye!